He's a comedian. He is a bon vivant. He is an attaché to the stars, and for about, 3-4 years, he was the receptionist here at Planet Utica, which all the radio stations that we have in the building here, and he was a staple. And then he went away to be Mr. Big Time and moved to Las Vegas and do comedy and live the dream that all of us here in Minnesota would like to live. His name is Jason Schomer. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing well. That's quite a rave you just did. I was like, I want to meet him.
Well, you forgot to mention.
You do it.
You forgot to mention Emmy award-winning comedian.
That's not me. That's who I work for. That's
that's who made the quotes there, Noble. That's who made the quotes.
I totally was like, how could you forget that? That's like a huge
someday.
Someday.
Well,
sure.
I do. Sometimes I just take his Emmys and I do speeches. I just practice.
So sorry.
How many people can say they've held an Emmy, even if it's not theirs?
I can't.
Yeah, no,
right?
I can't.
Exactly.
What, do local TV Emmys count, or only the big national Emmys?
An Emmy is an Emmy. Right? We will take it.
So you left us, and you now work down in Las Vegas. You are doing your comedy all the time down there. You're working with Louis Anderson as well. He's the Emmy Award winner, by the way.
Yes,
Very glowing things to say about you.
He is. And I scratch his name off of a lot of things and write my own in its place.
Have you gone totally Vegas, by the way?
Well, when you're big time,
What would that look like? What would going totally Vegas look like?
Keri, look at me.
Drink it in.
Duh.
Just drink it in.
Do I not radiate awesome?
You are joining us this morning to talk about the Fringe Festival, which kicks off tomorrow. Before we talk about that, do you want to talk about your high school reunion?
I just performed at my 20-year class reunion.
Now, before you tell us how this event went, where did you grow up and who were you in high school?
I grew up in Little Falls, Minnesota, small little rural town, central Minnesota, and I was the class nerd. Here's
Were
the thing.
You funny? Were you funny back then?
No,
or were you too shy?
I was just I had a lot of contempt for the world in the sense I was just like, you guys, it's a small town. Someday I'll be out of here. I was that guy.
Right.
But I wasn't like wearing all black or anything.
Right.
My act of rebellion was I got a perm. I had a perm my senior year. Thank God it lives on in the yearbook. But yeah, it was funny because I did in the show I did a bit at my reunion. I said, here's the thing. Like, looking back in high school, I realized that I was not popular. Like, I acknowledge that. I was not popular, at all. And they all just kind of look at me, and I go, and I was telling a friend of mine that. And they said, no, that can't be right. You can't remember that right. Because, look on Facebook. You've got so many friends on Facebook, and you're so funny, and you're so popular. And I thought, well, maybe you're right. I've got thousands of friends on Facebook, and Facebook's real.
Right.
And
Totally.
So I cracked up my yearbook, which I really did. And it was not how I remembered it at all. It was actually, in fact, much worse. I only had 34 signatures in my senior yearbook out of a class of 237, 1,000 plus in the school. And out of those 34, 5 were teachers.
Oh.
Well, how did you open? Because you performed at your 20-year high school reunion.
First thing out of my mouth, I got up there and I said, well. Who saw this coming? Me up here and you down there. And then I told them that, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to talk to a lot of them yet this evening because I was over at the box, because they had a box set up where you could fill out a slip of paper of who impresses you the most from our grade. Mm-hmm. And I said, I've been busy stuffing that box, much like homecoming. And and I go, it was a night. It was a night, let me tell you. So once they're read, I go, just so you all know, don't be surprised, but a lot of you are greatly impressed with me.
Did you go all Keri on the bit, though? I mean, like the movie Keri? I mean, did you have your revenge?
In a weird sort of way, it was very cathartic, to come back 20 years. Because, here's the thing. A lot of them I just didn't know. Because, a lot of my friends were in a grade either above or younger because we were the theater, the original Glee Club. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of them were just kind of people I just didn't know as a whole. But a few, that make your life miserable on so many levels. I was pleased as punch to see that they have not aged well in any respect. And I just thought, we're the same age. You don't look good.
Yeah, his name is Jason Schomer. You are back because you are going to be around for a while now. You've got a show coming up in the Fringe Festival, which is a bazillion shows and things happening everywhere. Before we talk about this new show, you've done this before. Was that last year or was that 2 years ago?
A few years ago. This is my 5th time in the Fringe Festival.
Oh, wow.
The one I remember, though, was based specifically on your days as a receptionist here at Clear Channel, and it was spectacular. And the ending was genius. So my expectations are extremely high for your new show. Your show is titled something that we can't say on the air.
I know no one can say it and no one can print it.
So how are we supposed to promote your show when you use foul language like this, young man?
You know, it was one of these things where it was like this moment of defiance where I was just like, I'm going to do this because I can. And much like the perm, it's like hindsight, you're like, oh, there's no publicity for this show because no one can say it.
Well, I think we'll just call it Star Friender.
Yeah, there we go.
How about that?
Or Star Bleeper?
Star Friender is what I'm going with. It sounds much more positive that way.
It sounds almost like I was a Care Bear.
Exactly. My Little Pony. What's your show about?
It's just about me and all of my crazy adventures in the world of pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
And it came about because as I was gearing up for my 20-year class reunion, I was literally going through my yearbook, and we had our predictions that we had to write when we were seniors. Like, where are you going to be in 10 years? And other people's were like, I'm going to be the manager of Pomida. And mine was like, I'm going to be friends with Rosie O'Donnell and Madonna. We're going to have dinner every night. I'm going to have a collection of Emmy Awards and Oscars and Tony Awards. And I read it, and I just thought, I am delusional. Like, what is wrong with me on so many levels? But then I just started thinking, I thought, you know what? It's like, while that may not have come true, as I say, every time I reached for the brass ring, I tripped and fell. I was never much of a jumper. I have had a really kind of crazy, surreal life as a fan of pop culture and living in the world of pop culture.
On the back of the postcard you gave us that promotes your shows, it has a list of celebrities that have actually been quoted about meeting you.
Yes.
And we've got Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Kathy Griffin, Rosie O'Donnell. There's a bunch of celebrities. So do you run into these mostly in Vegas? Is it when you're out and about? And do you have any favorite celebrity that you've run into? Favorite story?
Somewhere here at Clear Channel.
I was going to say, the Simon Le Bon quote on the back there, I was actually in the break room where Jason and Simon Le Bon of Duran Duran fame and I were hanging out. Simon Le Bon, one of the coolest people I've ever interviewed in my entire life. Funny, foul mouth, amazing. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he's one of my all-time favorites. He was like, because I remember I came back from break and he came early and he was sitting in the TV lounge, and I just thought, oh, Simon Le Bon, it's my chance. I said because here's the thing, like, you get reduced immediately to that. Like, I was that 12-year-old that was obsessed with Hungry Like the Wolf. Right. You know what I mean? And I just couldn't believe that he was physically there. And it's like I say in the show, it's like, in that moment that you're reduced, you're like, oh, you wish that your name was Rio and that you're dancing on the sand and that you're wearing exotic body paint. But the reality is you're a grown man and your name is Jason and you're wearing a sweater vest. But you don't care. Do you know what I mean? And so he was sitting there and he was reading a book, and I was just like, I got to talk to him. So I just would keep trying to ask questions. I was like, how's your day, Simon? And he'd be like, fine. Silence. How's yours? I'm like, oh, good. And eventually he just like put his book away and came and stood at my desk for a while and talked to me. And I'm like, behold the power of the receptionist.
Oh, you wielded all the power there. Well, the show is called Star Friender, and it's happening at the Rehrig Center on the U of M on the thrust stage there. Rehrig Center is the first place I ever did radio here, and it's a great place to do it. That's where we saw you last time, isn't it?
Yeah, in the Proscenium.
In the Proscenium, but this one's on the Thrust Theater. It's on Friday, then again on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. I am leaving town on Friday, so I have to go to your last show. I will not be there until the 12th, but you're in town this entire run? Fantastic. And if people want to know more, is there just a fringefestival.org or something they can go to?
Yep, the website is fringefestival.org.
All right, very good. And if you're on our show page, Beautiful. Go to cities97.com. Check out the Oake and Keri page, and you can find out more. By the way, Aaron, when you're putting stuff up on the web, we can't put the name of his show on our website, okay? Just want to make sure that Aaron's got that one down.
Star and then a lot of asterisks.
Even with the little asterisk right there, I'm going to come see your show, but I'm not taking that kind of bullet for you.
Just say a comedy by Jason Schomer, and they can look for me by my name.
Oh, very
good
good.
idea.
All right, very good. Well,
There you
thanks,
go.
Jason. It's awesome to see you again, man.
Thanks, guys.
And his new show, it kicks off on Friday evening. The details again available on the Oake and Keri page at cities97.com.